Welcome to the weekly demo offered by the Inclusive Organization Technology team within the International Permaculture CoLab. This project is made possible through funding received from the Next Steps project, which is a funded project within the International Permaculture CoLab. If you would like to know more about this project, you can visit www.perma.earth. The link is also available in the video description. Good morning and welcome to today's demo. And we're going to talk about the tasks and deck plugins within the Nextcloud. Last week, we covered also on the different feature of the Nextcloud, which was Nextcloud Forms. Okay, so we're going to follow the same format as always, and we're going to talk about pricing, feature, and accessibility. So starting with pricing, if you don't have Nextcloud already, as we've covered last week, you can get Nextcloud through the Digital Circle services, where we're offering packages for small teams up to 10 people, 10 users for €12 per month. If you are an International Permaculture CoLab member, however, and you have a working group within the CoLab, then we offer this service for free because the Permaculture CoLab already pays for the service for its members. So please get in touch with us if you want to know more about this. Nextcloud also offers its own packages, and you can find these on their website. The link will be shared with you below this video, so you can check that out, or you can watch last week's recording, which also has some more information about their large-scale packages they're offered by Nextcloud. We're going to start with Nextcloud tasks first. So what is Nextcloud task and what does it enable you to do? As you can see here, you can go to apps.nextcloud.com/apps/tasks, where you can also see all information about all the apps that they have, all the plugins. And there's also a description here. So the tasks, basically tasks is an interface where you can manage your tasks within the Nextcloud. Once you've logged into your Nextcloud account, you'll be able to see it here, up here in the menu items that you have. So let's have a look. This is where it's at, tasks. As you can see on the left-hand side, it allows you to organize different decks of tasks for different groups. And you can also add more to this. So we can have a look here, add a list, let's say demo. We can pick a color, let's say pink. Right. Pink. And it's here. Why create different lists? It may be that each team that you're in will have its own different task list, and this is useful to have set up separately. There's also a share button here. So once you click on the share button, you can share it with specific groups. Just for collaborative editing, this is really good. For example, I can share it with the welcoming garden, and then when members of that user group log into their account and go to tasks, they will be able to see it, just like you can see here, the different other ones that are shared. So let's say I keep it private for the moment. You can also edit this, so you can edit the name, demo IoT, for example. Changes the name. You can copy a private link. You can export this task list. So if I click on export, that gives me an ICS download that I can then upload somewhere else. If I have an ICS app that can read that. And I can also delete it if I no longer need it. Okay, so let's say we start adding some tasks. How do we do this? You click on add tasks, add task, demonstrate task. I clicked enter and it automatically creates a task here. I'll create a second one. So I've given myself some tasks, as you can see. Every time you edit it, it shows you here on the panel on the right-hand side where you can add more information to this task. So for example, if you want to edit this task, I'm going to demonstrate that now. I can select a start date, which is today at 10 a.m. and the due date, which is by 11. So it starts at 10 and ends by 11. I can accept that, or I can click on all day if this is an all day task. And then below here, you can see also status, needs action, priority is high, let's say 9. How much of it is completed? I'm about halfway through. This gives me a percentage, right? And I can also do tags. Let's see. Can have more than one text. And so on and so forth. And you can keep adding the text that you need. As you can see now, that changes the view of this task, right? You can see not only what I have put in by text, but you can see all the text that I've added. The color band matches the color of the list, and it shows me where I am with the task. It also shows me that I have a deadline, and it shows me when it's favored. So there you go. If I click the 3 dots, I can add a subtask. Right? And the same here. So now it opens again on the side here, and I can keep adding subtasks to that task. So I can have like a better way of organizing the tasks by making them subtasks. Let's say I also wanted to add some notes. In the notes, you can add instructions, you maybe detail step by step what needs to happen, if it's in relation to a file where you have to write something, then you might want to include where you need to save it and so on and so forth. You can also pin it, right? It's pinned. I can edit the title. Okay. And I can always go back and change the details. Let's say this is also high priority, right? And you can see that the priority goes up. And I haven't set a due date, but let's say this is an all day thing. Okay. So that's what that looks like, right? Because it's pinned, it has notes. It gives me that the task has a note, so I should read it before I do anything. It tells me that the task has not yet started and that the task is pinned. If I wanted to edit, I simply click on it, and this again opens up, and I can change it. You can do this bar thing, or you can also type it. Both of these work. You can add tags. Right. So that has a tag now. It's showing my progress and everything there, what I need to do. If I no longer want it to be pinned, then I unpin it. Okay. And if I click export, it will generate the ICS just like before. We'll talk more into the use of that now when we talk about the calendar next time. Okay, so that's basically the tasks. So let's say you want to complete it now. So the subtask is completed. I click it, I click the little checkbox here, and it's marked as complete. It doesn't update my progress, but then it's irrelevant because I finished it, right? So the progress bar is really useful, I suppose, if you're doing something in stages. And let's say I also finished demonstrating this, so I can tick it. So now it's showing one completed task here, and it's separating the stuff that I've not done yet with this from the stuff that I have done. This is useful because obviously you want to see what's been done. You might also decide that every 2 weeks you clear all completed tasks, or maybe after you have had a team meeting to review the completed tasks, you want to delete them, or you want to keep them until the end of the project. This is also an option. But if you decide to delete them, then all you need to do is click delete all completed tasks. I'm going to keep it for today, for the moment, and then I'll come back to delete it later because I want to show you something else. So let's do a little bit more editing here. Say priority low. Give it a tag letter. And the due date, not until next week. You can pick due date and starting days in the future. Right? And if I change the all day, then also the time appears, but let's assume I want to do this all day. Then the notes are look for further instructions on Slack channel. So priority 2 is marking as high. 1 is top priority, presumably high. And then further on, low. So this is how it's doing the priority. 1 is it goes from higher to lower. And the star is also reflexive of that. Okay, so that's that. I can close that. And then you get the hang of it, right? So you can already customize all this. I'm not going to do it in this case, but that's that. So let's say that you want to maybe make sure that not only that the tasks are done, but people are not working on the same task. If you have different people in the team working on all these tasks, then you might want to assign them, or you might want to make sure that work is not being duplicated or done in error by someone who said he'd do something else or whatever. So then you want to make sure that the team has enough information about the task to be able to complete it. So you can use these tags also to indicate, for example, names of people on the team who are dealing with it. And if this is not enough information, the title, you can also add more text in the title, but it gives you an idea of where you are with the project. And it's an integrated project management light tool. Anyone can add then tasks to the project and so on. I click on the 3 dots here and I share it. If I share it with the IoT team, for example, IoT. The IoT, I can pick whether they can edit it. So in this case, I want them to be able to edit the tasks and they'll be able to go in. So another user can go in and reassign this from Amy to, let's say, Eileen, right? And delete Amy, and leave Eileen. And that's automatically being kind of reassigned. Obviously, this relies on people logging into the accounts and having a look at this. This is useful if you are keeping tabs on it and having a team agreement around who's gonna do what, how often are you going to check this list, and making sure that you're on track, right? It also makes sense if you're not using other management tools. So you don't want to be having this and something else where, you know, multiple places where you have to log your tasks or move them around. So this is really a light, free version for projects that are already using this tool and want to keep track of what they're doing. So this is basically everything to do with tasks, the Tasks app in the Nextcloud. And it's a super handy tool to have. I want to talk also today about a different app called Deck. And the reason why I'm talking about both tasks and the deck in this week is because they really go well together, and I'll explain how. The deck is a sort of Kanban style organization tool, and it lets you plan for yourself or in a project within teams that are using Nextcloud. You can add tasks or cards and put them in order. You can write down notes in Markdown, assign labels, and share with your team, attach files, and all of this. And you can keep tracks of the changes in the activity stream. So I'll show you also this. So previously we were on tasks, which is up here, marked with a tick, tasks. Now we're gonna go on deck. As you can see on the left-hand side, I already have some boards, and now I want to add a new board. Let's say for the IoT. I think demo IoT. Okay. So it automatically, when you create a new demo IoT deck, it's going to ask you for a list. So the list is going to be basically a new list of cards to this board, which could be, let's say, tasks to assign. I'm gonna add a new one here. And here I'm going to make a list of tasks. And this makes basically these deck cards that you will see. And it's deck cards. Okay. So each deck card is also compressed like we've seen with the task. So if I click on card details, this opens a whole new pop-up where I can add things to this. And you can see in this case, I can add a lot of details. So I can add the whole document. I can assign a tag, for example, action needed. I can also make new tags, right? For example, Amy. I can assign user to this card, in this case, myself. I can add the due date. You can change that. And I can mark it as completed. I can add attachments from the files. And this will bring all the files that are in my Nextcloud already. Or I can upload a new file. This gives me the local upload. I can add comments. That will tell me when I have edited and what it is. And I can reply, update, or delete on this. So you can see here how that looks like. And I can see the activity of what happens on this card. So I can see here when it was created until when it was edited. I can open a sidebar view that gives me a side-by-side view of this, which is always handy. And you can see that it has changed and it's showing different things here. And it's showing my little face because I've assigned it to myself. So I want to create here a new list. In progress. And done. And so by adding these new lists, now I can use it as sort of Kanban style thing. So let's say it's in progress, I just move it. When it's done, I move it to here. I can also mark it as complete. Mark as done, right? Tells me when that was done. And then maybe after a team review, it can be archived. And here you can archive all cards if you want to, if you don't want to keep a record of them. If I click archive cards, archive all cards, it's gone, right? Can't get it back. You can also use a filter. So if you want to use a filter by unassigned, we'll show you all of these. You can also filter by when it's due, and you can filter by the tags that are active. You can show archived cards. So it shows it again here, just show archived, hide archive files and show archive. There's a toggle mode. Look, this really compresses the view. And show card over images. This is if you have images that are affecting this view, but that's not the case here. So I'm now in compact mode. If I edit this card, I'm gonna assign it some tags later. I'm gonna assign it to me again. I'm gonna add a due date for this weekend. And I'm gonna add myself a note. This class instructions are as discussed in the expo. Here's some things that I can add to that. And you can keep adding to the notes. So as the task progresses, you can keep adding to the notes. And there's also comments and activities same as before. Okay. Because this is start later. It may be that you need a new list that says later. Close that. It appears here, right? You see it? I can move it. I can move it around the lists up here according to my view preference. And I can pop it here. So this I know I don't need to worry about, and I can keep an eye on that due date. So I can, as it comes closer, I might change that to change the tag to action needed and remove later, for example. It will go. I have a filter here. So that's what it looks like. And remember, I can toggle the compact view, so that's really shrinks it. This works good if you have a lot of tasks and you don't want to see all the details. But I think with seeing all the details in Teams is very useful. Now, as a Nextcloud account holder, you'll also be able to keep a personal deck. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about how to share it. So let's say this is this double IoT list. This deck that I have created is not yet shared with the IoT team. So what I want to do is I want to make sure to share it. In this case, I clicked on the three dots. I clicked on board details. I went to sharing. And here I want to share it with the IoT team. We'll talk about user groups in one of the future videos, so you will also know how to set these up. And you can permit the IoT group to edit. And also you can, that they can share and manage this deck. You can add new tags from here. You can look at deleted items, and you can look at the activity, what's happening on this board. Okay. So that's really super helpful. And if I go back to the tasks now, so remember I added the demo IoT here. But now, if I scroll down, it also appears that there's a deck demo IoT. The deck demo IoT is what's coming from the deck view. So I no longer need to use tasks here because I can use the demo IoT. So I'm gonna delete that. And I'm gonna click on deck demo IoT, and this gives me all the tasks sorted as lists. So I have two views that I can use. I can use the deck view, which you have seen before. I'm just gonna click on it so that you can see it again. Right, we have 3 tasks. You can create more ideas. I can move some of this to done so you get to see what that's like. Click, drag, and just put it there. 3 dots, mark as done, done. Then, so that's my deck view. And you can see I can add in it as many lists as I see fit. And if I go to the tasks view, I'm gonna open it in a new tab. This is what that looks like. You can see that I can open it and look at more details. I can read the notes. Note that I can't edit this. I'm just for viewing, but it's a good view option. So if you are more into this kind of view, this is a good way of looking at your lists. I go back. I want to see, edit that card. This basically gives me the kind of connected view. So in summary, you can use either of these to organize yourself. You can use the tasks, or you can use the deck. If you're going to use the deck, it gives you a task view, but it doesn't give you task edits on it. This is important to understand, otherwise you won't know what's going on. And here it's showing me, for example, that we have completed the task when I click on it. So that's helpful. It depends really how you want to use it, but for editing tasks, then you would need to use the deck. I think that both views have their merit, so it's useful to use both if you want to self-organize. Okay. Both of these plugins are available as standard in the Nextcloud latest installation. So if you already have a Nextcloud administrator and you don't see these plugins on the top here, you can ask the administrator to add them. They are free of charge. And the access is the same as usual. You would go to your cloud, to your Nextcloud, and just simply log in using your username and password that you would have received. So we have covered today pricing, the features of both the deck and the tasks, starting with the tasks, of course. And we have also covered how you can access this Nextcloud from the digital circle. That's 10 users for €12 per month, or you can access it through self-hosting if you have your own server or your community wants to pay for their own server. And you can also use Nextcloud's own hosting services, which is more geared towards larger groups. If you have any questions, you can leave them here below the video, and we look forward to seeing you next week for more exciting open source demos. See you then.